Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks. So we'll look at the S&P and the Nasdaq first. Obviously, it's President's Day today, Monday. So markets and stock market and bond market will be closed, but I'll just go through this anyway. So we're looking at the S&P on the daily chart. Everything is going according to plan, and we're just looking for higher ground. Now pay no attention to where I've got these labeled up here. The next level that we're actually looking for is the 6,500, is the medium level. It's a very strong number and a very sort of unusual number, and you can see it show up in, penny stocks at 65 cents or $6.50 or even $16.50, $65, 6,500, 65,000. Where Bitcoin was. It's certainly a number worth understanding, and it is sort of it is the lower end of group 2 if we were thinking of 8,000 at that point. But bring us back into reality here. One of the things to the upside here in the S&P or the E-minis and all the rest of it was the 6,100. 1 is the strongest number in the market, followed by 5 and 8 and then 3. And obviously here it creates a top for the 6,000 here. And, when we're at a top like this here, we can expect the market to vibrate a little bit, and that's really what we're looking for. So from down here, we've got wave 1 up here and wave 2 here, and then we have 1 and 2 coming back here, and now we're looking for wave 1 here and pulling back for wave 2 and then pushing to the upside. Now we have started to build in already with this, and even though I'm putting the trades on the screen here for the E-minis and a few of the other ones, the way that I'm tracking this is through the what's the name here, the SPY, the SPY here. So I've just got it here, and I'll adjust the stops accordingly through here as well on this. Also, just to let you know as well, we're going to be starting Indian stocks. Don't worry about this. This is nothing. It's just a test. And yes, we'll do that, and eventually we'll hope to get onto other countries as well. And also, just while I'm here as well, that we're bringing on a new analyst, and he's going to be looking at ETF. So we're starting up a ETF section, and that means that let me just go in here. So what I've done here is I've listed as about 20 odd, and I'm putting them out to our analysts and also to our members as well, so everybody can have their 2 cents worth. So we're looking at starting this ETF service, and I'm putting in these stocks, these markets here, because they're sort of income earnings. And what we'll do with Trading Lounge over here, have we got Stock Check and for Crypto Check and all these sort of things. We're going to put in a dividend one over here for which will be ready in about 3 weeks' time. So these, we want to put, these sort of things in those. But otherwise, the list is here. And if you've got any comments, now is the time to start. Now, I know a lot of people are not that keen on Kathy Wood's ones here. But what I was putting him in here for is because it would enable me to see which markets, which ETFs are moving, and find the stocks that are moving those markets. So it'll just keep our finger on the pulse, because some of these markets inside of here, they're smaller markets, and some of them are really moving along quite quickly, and we need to be on those as trades, So anyway, put your 2 cents worth in here. That would be sort of have your say now, and we'll work through that now. Where's my chart here for this? Just bear with me. I've lost the plot. So it was there, it's just here. So back over here. So what I want to do here is we're looking for, we've got this 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. And in Elliott Wave terms, you know, an Elliottician or a trader is always looking for the third of the third of the third. That's the, you know, because we should see a strong move coming out of this, because in a way, all of this cross here is really an accumulation process, and it'll get to the point here like a triangle sort of thing, and then push to the upside there. So so we're just going to focus on this little move here for this, and there's two ways of looking at whoopsie-daisy. There's two ways of we've made changes with the charting program as well. We've created this floating toolbar here and put all the things that are on the top here to the side over here. And so if you want to add to the toolbar, just click on the favorites here, very much like TradingView. The Elliott Wave Algo is here, and the AI is still over here as well. And so let's just drop straight into, I'll just go to 15 minutes so we can pick it up here. Now, one of the things here is, so we've got wave 1 here and 2 here. We've got this trade in here. This is not a trade, this little dude here. We're going to be looking to get into that when we look at this pullback here. But if you want to take money off the table, then this is the place to do it, part or full profit. I'm not going to do that with the SPY, because basically, you know, we're going to have some sort of correction here. We're at some sort of high, you know, we're at the highs in the market, and this trend here needs a little bit of correcting. Now, what I'm not sure is if we've got a top in here now, or we've got one more little push to the upside. So if I label this here, it will be like this here. So it just depends on how you want to count all of this. And this one here would take us up to wave 1 here, and then an ABC back again here. So what we'll be looking for once that ABC pattern comes into play, let's just call it like this here. Once that comes into play and we've got our first little impulse wave up here, this is where we're going to be looking to go long at that point. Okay, so we'll bring that in here. Normally we look at the B wave here, but here. So this allows one more little push up, and there's a case for that. It just depends on how you want to count things. But when we're at the top of the market, it can come down as well. So I've got alternative count in here in the drawable section here, so we can just look at that in this sense here. So in this case here, we've already got wave 1 and 2, and then we've got 1 and 2 here for this. So we could be pulling. This is the tricky thing, because, you know, you've got wave 2 here and wave 2 here, and this wave 2 can pull back to the 60. This is the 61.8% back here, you know, at the 60-50 here on this trend line. So it could pull all the way back here. But because it's the third of the third of the third here, sometimes they don't pull all the way back. You know, sometimes they're a bit shorter here. So, you know, this consolidation in here within group 2, because normally group 1 above, which will be 10, 20, and 30, will lock it in, and then to the 6-1, that's all about that number there. So 1, 2, and 3 are the resistance, and keep it pinned down to this number, and then this group 2 here, 65, 72, and 80, its job is to pin it back to the one to there as well. So we should expect it to come down here. I couldn't say for sure if it was going to pull back into this trend line here because of where it is within the structure here. So there's a case that there's a top in play here, and there's also a case that it could push up one more little move up here for this. So, you know, like we talked last week, we wanted to wait for this pullback before getting in. So that's it really in a bit of a nutshell for that. So we'll have a look at the Nasdaq. So it's the same for the Nasdaq as well. We've got wave 2 over here and wave 2 here, and then we're looking up for wave 1 and back for wave 2. Now, in this case, it looks like it's more of a case to have this move up there a little bit. So I really don't know how this top is going to finish. If you want to get out, this is the place to get out at, right? So I'm not going to get out. We're just going to ride this out. And this is the trade here for this, and this is the stop. This one here is just ready to go, you know, to look for this. This is also too, if you want to understand this a little bit, is that this number here, this 22,000 here, then we have group one above, which will be 10, 20 and 30, or 100. I just call them 1, 2 and 3 above, and below here, a bit hard to see, but group 2, 65, 72 and 80. So, you know, this group 1 and group 2 is, you know, where it's playing out against this number here. So all we have to do is just wait for this, you know. Don't have all the answers about how this, you know, there could be a top in here right now. I don't know what news is going to come out and all the rest of it, you know, but this trend here is starting to bow over a little bit, and it could push up a little bit, it could drop down here. It doesn't really matter. We're waiting for this this ABC pattern here, and the markets are closed, but we'll be able to see how the futures market operates in against the minis operate against Japan opening, for the bond market in Japan is pretty big. So, you know, those fish are chasing each other around in the bond market, you know, as the world spins. So we'll see how that. We'll see. Anyway, this wave 2 will show itself. It's just how big it's going to be is the issue. So let's have a look at stocks. Okay, so this is Apple, and just for a couple of them, I just want to point out this is the trend that we're looking at. I can see Apple at 300 here. Now, obviously, there's always a you know, nothing's in a straight line, but it gives you a bit of an idea. So we've got wave 1 here, 2 here, going up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up for 3, 4, 5. Like I said, don't pay any attention to, you know, this too much. We've got to get through the medium level here, 250, the old high here. But generally speaking, this is where we are with this. And I'm going to come back and look at the intraday in a moment. But I just want, while I'm on the daily chart here, you'll just get to sort of see, this is Amazon here. So we're looking for a move higher up here, just to give you an idea. And same with Nvidia as well. We're looking for a move up. You know, as I mentioned before, this is a corrective pattern here, so we've also got to get through the old highs here, but generally speaking, we're moving higher here, and this will be the same with Meta as well. I'm not going to do all of them, but just to, you know, just want to sort of paint the picture for you what we're actually looking at here. There's probably a different way to count this here too, by the way, but it doesn't really matter. This is what we're looking for to the upside here. So back to Apple. So I just wanted to sort of, you know, give a bit of you know, perspective, I guess is the right word for some of these stocks. Okay, so we've been building into most of those stocks that we've just viewed, and we're going to be continuing to do that through these 1s and 2s here and so on. So we'll try to manage the risk as best we can, our general exposure to the markets. So let's just go to the 15-minute charts here now. With Apple here, of course, the extended hours has this as the low down here. So we've looked at this as 5 waves up. We also looked at it as a B wave up, as an A and a B and a C for that. So and now we're looking at this move here to the upside. So we need to put in some of this. So basically this is where we are at the moment. Let me just push this up here a bit further. So this is going to be sort of quite easy here because we've got a position here, we've kept the stop out of the way. We can move the stop a little bit closer, but really I don't want to move it until we're done here. You know, I don't want any announcement coming out and taking us out and all the rest of it. If we, you know, if you want to take money off the table, then you do it. You do it at the 250, okay? But otherwise, we're looking at some sort of move here to the upside. Doesn't have to be as high as that. I get it. You know, we can bring this down onto here, and although it might not even reach there, and we can bring this down to, this is the 4th wave here, just starting here. So generally speaking, this is what we're looking for, a classic trading levels pattern at the 250. Okay, so this would be this pattern here. It's possible that we don't drop down below the level here in this, so it could end up like this, but it won't fool us because once we got the high here, we'll be going along above the high, we'll look for the second high, and if we do drop below here, then we can pick it up from, we can pick it up and go that way with it, but we start from the top and work down, but we'll expect some type of correction at that level, of course. And we've got the old high here as well, so this may not even reach, it may not even reach the 250 in this first instance here, right? So anyway, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to do anything. We've done what we needed to do, and now we'll just chill, and we'll look to add to this. It will look to add here. We may probably get another position in here if we can, and then we'll probably build another 2 positions in this section over here for this. So we'll see how it goes. We'll do our best. And I'm just going to stay on the 15-minute chart if that's cool. And we're going to look at Amazon. So this here too, this is just the 15-minute chart. We've got this move up here on the 15-minute chart, which we're looking at wave 1. And then we've got this ABC pattern here. Also, we've got extended hours, and I've just drawn that in here on this. And we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and then some sort of ABC pattern. Now, I don't know if we're going to get another low in here, but I think that we're good to go at this point. As 1 and 2 and 3 ABC for 4 and down for 5. So we're going to look to go long on top of the 230. Now 230 is the top of group 1. We can also look for a classic trading levels pattern there as well, but don't be surprised if there's another little move down here and we've got to handle that situation, So yeah, so it's a little bit sort of tricky in here. So from this low, which is, I think it was at 222 roughly, and we can look at that to the upside there. So the 61.8% is still down here, so we can still come down a little bit further on this. So yeah, I mean, if you want to set an order, set and forget, then you could put that not at 230, you could put it at 231 and something or rather like 231 and 13 or 17, because at 31, that's where orders are going to be sitting there as well. You want to sort of clear that supply out at that point. The other way to look at this is just look for a classic trading levels pattern at this level. So let's just assume for a moment that the market pushes up here and has the first high above the level. Then that's the one to go for at that point once you've got that first high there. So I'll just leave that as that, and we'll move along to Nvidia. So yeah, so this one here, we've been moving along here from this low here with our first position here, bringing the stop from here to 122. So that position is covered. We've got 2 exposures here, and this move up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I could have the top in here already for this. It could be the top could be in right here for this. It could be right here. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really matter. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I could probably look at that. I could probably look at all that as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. Coming up to the 140, that's what we're dealing with, handling rather, and we're just looking for some sort of ABC pattern here. And I know it was a little bit cheeky to get in a bit early here on this. Unfortunately, I'm not perfect, but we've got enough profit in here to take a bit of heat on this one and end up with a better price when we look back a little bit later on. But we probably look to build in through group 1 over here, 1, 2, and 3, or certainly if we get a tested support on 143, the top of group 1 of 140, then we'll move in at that point. You can expect a larger correction at the 150, the medium level. But yeah, all in all, we're cruising along quite nicely on that. And over to Meta, another bullish stock, and yeah, let's just squeeze it in back here somewhere. So yes, it's going okay. I mean, this trend could be counted a little bit differently as well, but anything sort of heading higher will end up heading higher. So the trick now is to try to figure out sort of where we are with with this here. It does appear that we still need a little 4 and 5 here. This is on its sort of a slightly different pathway to the others. Where are we here? 730. Yeah, look, I think the worst thing, let's just assume that I get this wrong. So if I got it wrong, we'd end up with something like this. Okay, that would be pretty much the worst case scenario coming back in here, but we've actually got quite good support at the 700, and when you're at a large number or any number, the next level up is always the number 3. So every number's got a group 1 and a group 2. So for the 700, it's 10, 20, and 30. If this becomes a tested support, then it's not going to come back to the 700. But just because it's trading above the 730 here, it doesn't mean that it's support. Right? It hasn't been this hasn't been tested yet. If it comes back and then takes out the high here, then it's been tested. Now you could read that in lots of different ways with volume and so on. Now yeah, so I'm just looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2. Maybe I've got to put this as 3, 4, 5 here and finish off. Do you know what I mean? Like put this over to here and put the wave 4 into here and the wave 5 into here, that sort of thing, and we've got a top in play here. Now that wouldn't surprise me at all, so just I'll just be conservative here. So, and then that would bring it in line with everything else at that point and bring it down here. So that would probably be about right at that point. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? It's just a very small sort of intraday thing that will come down and test this. I mean, this market is like walking upstairs. It takes you take one step up and you're stepping back down to test this to support. That's what's happening. But we can see it stretching out here a little bit now, picking up a little bit of speed and so on. So let's go to Netflix. So we've also got a long position in here where we're talking about taking money off the table up here a little bit further. Let me just bring this back in here for a bit. Okay. It looks like it's in some sort of, we've had this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. It's a bit difficult to have this as 1 and 2 here. And definitely looks like we're going into sort of a stronger move at this point. I think what I'll do to start with is I'm going to lift this profit up here somewhere. Just move. I think we just move it out the way a little bit. We'll put it up there, and let me just make a note here, and just so I change that on the on the stock check. And then we're going to have to look at this slightly differently here. I don't know the best way at this point, but we're going to have to move it up. I don't know if this is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. It's still a bit short there, isn't it? So I think we're going to be. But it should just correct with the rest of the market as well. I mean, the next step is to put this wave 1 here and then build it up further. But we have to build it up further. That's the thing. So I don't know the best way about it, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. But and once we, I don't want to move this. I don't want to move. I have to look at this low here, right? And find the top here and then look for 61.8%. Then I could put my stop there. So I could do it like that, or I could do it once the midpoint becomes the tested support or group 2 becomes the tested support, because none of these levels are support just yet. The only support is this one here, the top of group 1 here, the 30. So I could bring the stop up under that, or under the 2. I could bring it up under the 2 here. I could bring it up to 1016 and then just tuck it under the 16, because you don't want to put things at whole numbers if you can, because that 16 will have a group 1 and group 2. So you really want to be under the group 2, and the lower end of group 2 is the 65, so you want to be at 62 at that point. So you could do that, but I'll just leave it for the time being and allow it to we've moved it up to this point here, which has been tested. So anyway, we'll just keep moving along with that. That's cool. And then we come over to Google. Okay, so last week we talked about this drop here from the 200 here. So last week we talked about this being wave 3 and wave 4 being completed here, but I just didn't really have enough evidence in here for this. But looking at Fridays, it looks like we've got a little bit more evidence. And the other point here is that this wave 3 up here could be wave 1, and we could have this as wave 2. It's got the price action of a wave 2, much sharper than a wave 4, but it doesn't really matter at this point either. What we're looking for here is we're looking for some sort of, to distinguish this between being a corrective rally and an impulse wave. And what I thought about this was looking at the 188 here. Now this 188 is a little bit important because it's part of group 2. So we got 80 from 180 here, right? The next, we've got 1, 2, and 3 is group 1, which it's sitting on at the moment, the 83. And then there's 85. So it's sitting on that 85 now. And this little pattern in here is bullish corrective. So we should see that push up further. And then above the 85, then you've got, after 5 comes 8. And when you're talking about 8, you talk about group 2. So we've got 72 in there, 187.20, and then 186.50 in here. So this 186.50 is really important. We can see that it's already created a high here. Once that becomes the support, then because basically what the market's doing is going back up there and retesting the supply at that point. So is the demand stronger than the supply, stronger than the sellers at this point? That's where the battle is. So I'm just going to let that battle play out. And if the demand is greater, which I think it is, then we're going to look for a setup across the 188. We may be able to get a better position, and by that time, once that battle plays out, we'll be able to give this a better, structure. I can see that we need. I can see that it's basically swinging towards an impulse wave to the upside, but I always put safety first, and that's what we're going to do. Just going to wait it out until it is clear for us to make a move. So over to Microsoft. So with Microsoft, as I mentioned last week, I had these labels here that I just left there because I'm just not sure if this is in play yet. I don't see any, we're looking for this wave C low, which I could put in here, I could bring over here further. I just don't have any evidence of any move to the upside. This is still trending down. I don't see any impulse wave to the upside. Sure, I could probably weave that in there and all the rest of it. But there's nothing here just yet. Now, it will snap back when the others start to go into their third waves to the upside. Just generally speaking, the S&P and the Nasdaq as moving averages for the bulk of stocks. But we're not there yet with this. You could do something as simple as have a trend line across the top there and, look to go on that when you're ready to go. But anyway, it's not there yet. But the good thing about these stocks that are in this situation and don't have a lot of problems, as a business. Yes, they were a bit slow on the where the money is in the cloud computing. I mean, Amazon gave them a whipping for that, but they're playing catch up a little bit, and it's a race between all those Google and Microsoft and Amazon. But there's nothing really, the way they integrated their AI is pretty special. Not that I use it, but don't see any. And I also see this is coming down here quite fast, and we've had a correction. And then the speed of this coming down here, you see how it's sort of slowing down, So this is where it sort of snaps back. So it is going to pop at some point, and we'll wait for the pop. We don't feel like we missed it, and we'll get a pop and a drop, and we'll pick it up on the drop there after that. So yeah, once again, we just need to wait for more evidence. And over to Tesla. Okay, so with Tesla here, we were short, but we dumped it at 330, which was a good trade. And So we've been looking at this here as wave 3 up here with an ABC for wave 4. You could look at it a little bit differently, and I've got it here. We've also had this as a WXY here. So there's a few different ways of looking at it, but I can see here that we're heading to the upside. So I'm just going to remove that. And do we need to? No, I don't need to do that. And we're going to. I could go, we talked about going long up in group 2 here last week, and we will do that again. You could go long above this top here, but I don't want to do that. I want to wait till we get some, I want to see if group 2 can hold itself here. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to wait for that. So we'll look for a move in group 2. We may even be a little bit slow in here to get this, so we may have to get it on the 72 as well. Now, we could go long right now for it as well, but I'll just wait and see, because if, let me just get my little drawing tool here. If the other markets are going, like the S&P and the Nasdaq and all the rest of it are going to, if we look at this as wave 1 here, well, let's just draw that in, shall we? So let's just consider this here wave 1 here at the moment, and it may not be, but it'll just give us something to work with here on this. So we can look at this as, whoops, no. Yeah, Monday morning. 5 o'clock Monday morning, always a nice. I started a bit earlier today, a bit like the old days. So get the brain cells working. Do we call it wave 1 at that point? Yeah, I'll just put it in there for that. So basically, I'm sort of thinking that, you know, when we see the Nasdaq and all that, we should see something like this. So we should be able to improve on this as well. So this here could end up coming down to here or on top of this B wave over here, if that is a B wave indeed, you know. So we'll look for it over here or up here. So I'll just get a little bit more on this first, but that's where that is. So let's have a look at Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin on the daily chart here. I just want to talk about this bigger correction here for a moment, and so we've got this high here, but on some of these other markets, let me just have a look at this here for a moment. This is the larger BlackRock ETF here, and this low here is lower than this particular high over here. So in this case, we'd have to put wave 3 here and wave 4 here. Or if it's going to get more complicated, wave 4 over here for this. Now this move up here, could we look at this as an A, B, C here for the correction finish, and this up for 1 here with an A, B, C back for an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for a C wave, and we just go straight up from that point. That would be a good case. But if I look at MicroStrategy, for instance, here, this has got a completely different move in it. This move up here is in 3 waves up here. So this is sort of telling us that we could get, sorry, I didn't need to do that. We could get a move like this before going up here, based on MicroStrategy here, you know. Because, you know, if we looked at this as an A wave here and a B wave here and a C wave here, this C wave here hasn't taken out this low here. Now, I know that's okay because it's sitting on a big number level here. So I'm just really looking around the block to see if I can sort of see anything in this. Because this move up here and this move down here kind of makes a little bit of sense with this. And when we look at our analyst Kitty Pond's Bitcoin move here, we've got this bigger picture here. So we've got wave 3 here with an A and a B wave up here and a C wave here. So an ABC up here for this, and then back down at this point. Now this would not be in line with what's happening in the Nasdaq at the moment. So I think that's sort of interesting, but yeah, I mean, the other way to look at this is to put wave 3 over to here and look at this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, which would be the more bullish side of things. I'll just see what see Samni's doing this here as well. It's just have a look. Just wanted to find these counts here. This is the other way to look at it. Yeah, so in this case, putting wave 4 here, this is Samni's count with 1 here and 2 here. This is what I was just saying, and then 1 and 2 here, and then a push up there. So it seems that, you know, we've all got sort of different counts on this at the moment. I think one of the things that we could look at is, you know, in terms of being long is this 100,000 here as being a tested support to be long. The other count here is also looking for a move up in short term here and then coming back down here. And then the final move is triangle pattern here, which I also like as well. I mean, you know, this is quite a complicated correction in Bitcoin, but the takeaway is that the whole thing is bullish. You know, when we first arrived here at the 100,000, you know, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it's normally the same of what I say, is that, you know, 1 is the strongest number, the 100,000. Could be $1, could be 10 cents. Anything with a, you know, starting with a 1 is going to be psychologically, you know, stronger than any other number. And this is what it's doing. It's doing what it should be doing at this number. And, you know, it's also creating, you know, the accumulation phase for the next distribution phase as well. So for the longer this goes on, it's kind of the better, really, because it enables us to, you know, us hodlers to put more money in at this stage, because the longer this correction is sideways here, it's giving us a chance to put more in before it takes off, because when it leaves this number here, it will be heading to 200,000. It will go to 1, 2 and 3 as group 1, and if it gets tested support on group 1 here, then it's left. If it gets tested support on this number, 130,000, then it's leaving this number. It's leaving it, and it'll be pulled up by this number here. And if this becomes the support, then it's going to be pulled up to 2 at that point, and we've got group 2 here and all of that sort of stuff. But it could certainly, you know, the Nasdaq and the S&P and that is, you know, we're looking for those markets to basically push up and then have a big 1 and 2 before going up again. So it could get a little bit wild here still in this market, you know, but it's just a chance to continue to accumulate. As I've always said, you know, I mean, the people that got in at, you know, $1,000 thought it was expensive. The people like myself that got in at $10,000 thought that it was expensive. Well, I didn't really, because I could see the whole market looked like a penny stock price action. You know how a penny stock starts, or any market starts with those wild swings, you know, and it's still the same here. This is still to me is still cheap at 100,000. So see this as an opportunity. Don't worry about where you where you get in, if you could have got a better price and all the rest of it. But this is a chance to accumulate here, and just to let you know that it could get, you know, this is probably the worst that it could happen is drop down to here, then go up, and then do this, and then go up again. That's what we could be up. That's probably the worst case scenario. The better case is that it just continues to move to the upside. But this is pretty much what the Nasdaq and the S&P will be doing in terms of looking for this wave 5 of 5 up here, which will make a larger wave 1 and then back for 2. Now, how far it pulls back, don't know, but something, you know, won't be sort of huge, but you know, be enough to rattle the cage a bit. But yeah, so that's that. Alrighty, I'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.